Hello and welcome to episode 6 of The Long Haul from UShip. Excited to be with you once again. This episode, we've got some really great stuff. Interesting information on some reality show opportunities for carriers that are upcoming with our marketing guru, Dean Jutilla.
Yeah, get famous.
We also have some product updates to go over with Jonathan Malone, Senior Product Manager here at UShip, to talk about some upcoming changes to our ratings and reviews and profiles. We also have our in-home delivery sales manager, Reid Kegel, coming on to talk about a really exciting new client for our in-home delivery program.
Yeah, and Joe, you have some information on some persona data that we use for our carriers and how to help them get more traction on the site.
Yeah, all that and more, or maybe just that. But anyway, give it a listen. Thanks.
So many of you know us from Shipping Wars, or you know of Shipping Wars, the TV show that we were heavily involved with. And we have some new opportunities coming out right now. And we've got our old pal, Dean Jutilla here. Dean, what's going on over there?
Hi, Lisa. So a few things going on the reality TV show front.
Mm-hmm.
We are, to be clear, this is not a UShip-oriented show or shows. We are just passing along the information because, as many of the carriers on our site know, they know the names like Mark Springer and Roy Garber
Mm-hmm.
and Jarrett, and they know all these names because they saw them on the show and in fact maybe discovered the job of trucking from that show.
Yeah.
And they've got into it. I've actually heard that story a number of times from people. So what we're doing now is just kind of sharing some of these opportunities for upcoming shows.
Awesome.
So two of them that have come out. One is from the creators of The Deadliest Catch.
Oh, whoa.
So definitely have a name recognition there. And they're looking for carriers and truckers who have years of experiencing driving 18-wheeler. And they're really looking at putting people through obstacle courses and kind of competition driving, I guess you could say. And that's kind of really how they're billing this. There's no name for the show yet, but again, the people from it are from from Deadliest Catch and some other shows that Axemen and things like that you would recognize
That's
out
awesome.
on cable television.
That's awesome. I'm wondering what kind of obstacles they're going to throw out there.
Well, I mean, if you think about it, too, they probably have. If you think about what it takes to get into tight spaces
Mm-hmm.
in parking lots and in truck stops and in rest stops, it's no easy task to move this giant machine around these places. So the skills that these guys have are pretty incredible in the first place. Not to back one of these things up. I mean, you think about backing up a Suburban is hard. Try like 53-foot trailer.
Yeah. Also, a lot of our carriers have a ton of experience doing that because of so many home deliveries
Absolutely.
that we do. So you've got to get into those neighborhoods and navigate a cul-de-sac and all kinds of crazy things.
Yeah, you don't want to be knocking over mailboxes and running over people's lawns.
Yeah.
Running over a kidless tricycle.
Kidless is important there.
But knocking over power lines, things like that, because
Yeah.
that can happen. That's one of the reasons why the carriers on UShip are very unique, because they can get in and out of those places
Mm-hmm.
much more easily than, let's say, a major Class 8 18-wheeler going into these residential neighborhoods where they're just not very welcome in that regard.
No, absolutely.
So our second show I want to tell you about, Lisa, is, and again, still to be named show, but they're looking for a little bit of a different cast. They're looking at family-owned trucking businesses. And they're looking for those family-owned trucking businesses that have driven or hauled large and obscure items over what they call dynamic terrain. So I'm thinking heavy equipment over ice lakes, something like that. People might think, well, that sounds like ice road truckers.
Yeah.
And so my guess is we're probably in that same vein, but it's really hard to say. We don't quite know what the whole spec or scope of the show is, but that's what they're talking to us about.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's also, those big inclines on mountains and different ranges, and then, make them go out into some sand. Let's see what happens if you're driving
Very
over
dynamic
sand.
terrain.
Yeah.
I think that qualifies as
Yeah.
that. Maybe a bed of marbles.
There you go.
Who knows?
There you go.
It's very difficult to drive. So that's what we're finding out about. We'll, on our podcast page, we're going to list, if you're super interested in this, we're going to give the contact information, 2 email addresses to go to these places to to sign up
And
Again,
get
that's how
famous.
and get famous. That's how we found the cast for Shipping Wars. We went out to our network and said, we've got this show coming along. We kind of narrowed it down, and we went out there, and that's how we found Mark and Roy and Jarrett, all those names that have become kind of household names amongst that community. And it kind of changed their life in a number of different ways because it just put them out on the road and everyone knows them.
Yeah.
And so that was kind of an interesting dynamic and result of that
Yeah. I mean,
sort of thing.
That's a huge way to market yourself and your business, which is, it'll make you like so much money to do this.
It will.
Yeah.
You very much can. And so that's, as we talk about the carrier profile pages, again, this is a place that if you're not going to go the extent of a reality show, there still is the chance to market yourself. So I know we're going to be talking about the upcoming changes to our carrier profile pages, which is going to be very important to know how people are marketing themselves and opportunities to really bump up their business. UShip really becomes their marketing arm when you think about the profile page that we offer.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Dean, thank you so much for dropping that information. Let's see if we get anybody famous.
Glad to drop by.
Thank you.
All right. I am joined now by Senior Product Manager here at UShip, Jonathan Malone, to discuss some changes coming up to our profiles and ratings and reviews that we're really excited to share with you. Jonathan, how are you today?
I'm doing good.
Yeah, thanks for sitting down with us.
Yeah, of course.
So just a quick elevator pitch on the changes that are coming up for our carriers, and we can delve into it a little bit further after that.
Yeah, sure. My team has been working really hard on giving our carriers and our shippers a great new experience with your carrier profiles. You're going to see not only a facelift, but the ratings and review, and specifically the reviews themselves are going to be so much easier for your customers to find. And I think it's just really going to highlight the best of you out there and really give you guys a competitive edge.
Awesome. So right out of the gate, what are going to be some changes our carriers are going to notice with the revamped profile page?
So one of the things that you're going to really see is that it's just really been simplified. A lot of the extra numbers that were on there, we're taking those away and really just kind of highlighting a couple big specific insights that we think are going to be helpful for you to be able to sell your services to shippers as you're competing on bids. The other thing, other than it looking pretty fantastic in my opinion, is it's going to be a lot more review focused. So a lot more, it's easier to find those reviews. It's going to be really clear which reviews are good, which reviews are bad. Right now on the site, it really only shows reviews, the most recent ones, and it's really hard to find ones that are specific for either your professionalism or your timeliness or for, the boats or motorcycles, that kind of thing. So
specific,
yeah, exactly. So I think it's going to be a lot easier for you to sell your services, and then also for shippers to be able to figure out if you guys are going to be a good match.
Yeah, that's really exciting. And I think it's something our carriers always ask for as a way to highlight their feedback.
Yeah.
They're always looking for ways on the site to do it. And I think it's great that we're bringing it right up to the forefront. So with the new ratings and reviews, there are going to be some actual changes to how the scores are calculated. Can you speak a little bit to how that's going to affect our carriers overall?
Yeah, sure. One of the big things is that we are going to be adding a lot more reviews to be a part of that overall star rating that I'm sure you guys are super familiar with. One of the things that the old overall star rating, the one that's currently on the site, you really only got 1 star rating per user.
Right.
Per shipper that you worked with. So if you worked for a shipper multiple times, it only counted towards your star rating once. Now, every single time that you ship something for that shipper, their review is going to count towards that. So that's something that's really great, especially for you that are working, with some of our partners, businesses, and doing a lot of these for them on a weekly or even monthly basis.
Yeah.
The other thing that's going to change is that we are going to be adding the cancellation experience. That's going to be part of the star rating now.
Yeah.
So, it's really a great opportunity for our shippers to understand what the possibilities of working with you are going to be like, and really a great place for you to highlight your professionalism.
Yeah, and I think we've talked about it in past episodes with other guests, but I think cancellations are actually a really good way to tell the professionalism and service level of a company, how they behave when a situation isn't ideal and how they treat their customers when something happens, because cancellations are just a reality in the shipping industry. Trucks break down, roads close, things get out of time frames and they have to cancel? And are you the type of company that's upfront about it and lets your customer know and works with them? Or are you the kind of company that ghosts on them and leaves them hanging at the last minute? And being able to differentiate yourself as a good company that doesn't do that to their customers is really going to stand out.
Yeah, I think shippers understand that things happen on the road, and really a good opportunity for you to make a lifelong customer or someone that you could potentially work with the next time they're looking for someone is to just, treat them right, and they understand that things are going to happen, and if something comes up, you're going to have to cancel, but it's also something that's happens all the time on the site. And so a shipper is going to understand that as they look through your profile as well as a bunch of other bids that they may be looking at, right? That it happens and it's common.
Yeah. So in doing this work, I'm sure you've been looking at a ton of profiles on our site. What's something that really, for the best accounts, stands out to you as a really good thing to have on a profile from a carrier perspective that they can add that's going to make them stand out with this new profile page?
Yeah, something that we hear from shippers all the time is that photos of your equipment, right? That really gives them a lot of confidence that you have the right equipment to be able to move their load. One of the things that we've done with the profile page is that previously the photos were really small. If you clicked on them, they opened up in a new window. Now we have a really kind of very clear, bright photo area. So when you click on that, it's going to have it's going to expand, take up the entire screen, and easy for people to scroll through. So I think a tip that I would give is to put photos of your equipment in there, whether it be a trailer or your Sprinter van or your rig or anything like that, because that'll help people understand and also set expectations for when you show up to pick up the item. They're like, oh, it'll just provide even more confidence in your services.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I agree. I think that photos are a great way to show your care of goods, how you're wrapping items, how you're ratcheting items, all those types of things to really give your customer confidence. And also gives you a chance to show off the type of equipment you use. Do you have a hot shot trailer? Are you running an open trailer for cars, an enclosed trailer? Do you have Sprinter vans or box trucks? Take pictures of all that and add it on there because it only helps sell you.
Yeah, and when you think about a shipper comparing with someone else, like if you have photos and they can see all your equipment, that's going to give them way more confidence and potentially even pay you more compared to another profile that doesn't have those detailed photos of your equipment on there.
Yeah. Well, Jonathan, this is really exciting, and thanks for all the hard work you guys have put into these new ratings and reviews, these new profile pages. We're excited to roll them out to everybody and really see the positive impact it has on the marketplace.
Yeah, I mean, we're excited to get this out to you. I think the profiles are a part of the site that has needed love for quite some time. And I've been excited to be working on this, and I just can't wait to get it live for everyone listening.
Awesome. Well, thanks again.
Yeah, thank you.
I'm here with our in-home delivery sales manager, Reid Kegel. Reid, can you tell us a little bit about our sales team and, what we're doing to help our carriers?
Yeah, you bet, Lisa. And first off, thank you for inviting me. This is my first podcast and hopefully not my last. So.
Oh, yeah. Well, thank you for being here.
You bet. So, yeah, we are the sales team. Right now, we're focused on growing revenue for UShip. And right now, we're onboarding a lot of furniture retailers. And through our partnerships, we are offering new listings to carriers. So we're offering a new revenue stream for carriers who are on certain routes. Possibly opening up new routes for carriers. So if there's new markets that they're looking to go into, we have and offer that ability as well. We are helping carriers expand their customer base. So, again, if there's a new lane that they want to jump into, that's where we can really help out.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
And we just onboarded a really exciting customer. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, Etsy.
Yeah.
So Etsy, we just launched that partnership last week. And right now, the issue that Etsy was dealing with was a lot of their sellers had a lot of stuff that would go through normal parcel. But a lot of them were starting to raise their hand and said, that they were selling larger items, a lot of large and bulky items. And so they needed some kind of path and assistance with that. So Etsy partnered with UShip. And over the past week, we've had over 500 Etsy sellers raise their hand.
That's awesome.
And we're already starting to see listings flow through our system with it. So
That's
it's been
so
very
cool.
positive.
That's so cool. So when you say like large and bulky items on Etsy, what kind of items can our carriers expect to be shipping for these customers?
Great question. Most of it's probably going to be furniture. There might be some items that might fall outside that realm, like artwork or furniture or gym equipment, as an example. But I would say for most of the shipments, I would probably expect that to be some type of furniture.
Awesome.
A lot of times handcrafted personal items. So
cool.
yeah.
Well, Reid, thank you so much for coming on here. We can't wait to see what our sales team does going further, and we hope to have you on coming up soon.
Perfect. Thank you, Lisa.
Thank you.
Take care.
So, Joe, you did some research on the carriers on our site, and what kind of carriers are out there using UShip.
Yeah, we ran a survey earlier this year, specifically targeting our in-home delivery carriers. We targeted about 307, not about, exactly 307.
Roughly 307.
Precise. Yeah. We were able to call about 100 and connect with 62 carriers to gather the results of this survey. And it was based on the amount of volume they were doing in-home delivery. So these were among the highest active carriers in that group. And with that, we were able to kind of come up with some personas about our carrier base and break it down into 3 different types. So we've got the 3 types are UShip Professionals, UShip Enterprise, and UShip Part-Time. Really what's differentiating these are what they view UShip for, what they use UShip for, if we're their primary source of freight, if they are looking to us to fill in their trucks on the road. And then part-time being people that we are their primary source of freight, but their profit motive is really secondary to their business. They're more retirees or people that like to travel the country and not have to pay for gas. So when we were breaking it down, we found that a big majority actually were what we call UShip Professionals. So they look to UShip as their primary source for freight. It ended up being 52.5%.
That's awesome.
Fell into that, yeah. So they're really hyper-focused on their feedback. UShip sort of serves as their marketing arm, their profile. So all the reviews they get, they're really concerned if they ever get a negative review. Most of them very, very rarely do. They do whatever it takes to make their customers happy.
Right.
And then the other 2 broke down. I mean, it was pretty close evenly, but UShip Part-Time taking up about 21% and UShip Enterprise being 26%. UShip Enterprise is going to be that company that checks UShip for fill-in shipments. If they're going along a route, let's check UShip to make sure there's no loads there that we can add some volume to our site, to our business with. Similar level of professionalism as a UShip professional, but they have a really well-established business outside of UShip. So look to us to supplement it. What was really interesting too is, we got into equipment types, the types of locations they service, and years of experience on the site. One of the really interesting takeaways was that 68% of our carriers have 5 or more years of experience, and expounding on that, 37% have been driving for 15 or more years.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So that's a really high level of our carrier base that have a lot of experience, which is good to know and comforting for clients.
Yeah, they really know what they're doing.
Exactly. We found that 2/3 of our carriers, exactly 66%, stick to a specific region as far as what they service, versus about 30% going nationwide, and then only 5% focusing on specific states. And you can pretty much count those for like Texas and California, larger states where you can really stay in one and not have to leave. But they're largely regional. 46% of carriers only had 1 vehicle in their fleet, and 95% of our carriers have a box truck, enclosed trailer, or a transit and sprinter van.
Oh, that's a lot of protection for, what's being shipped.
And another interesting takeaway too was, UShip has sort of a reputation of being one driver, one truck, and kind of a one-man show. The reality is 56% of the carriers operate with more than 1 driver. So
that's awesome.
That's either somebody riding in the cabin with them or somebody else that, the account holder is dispatching to take UShip shipments and working with them that way. So that was a really interesting takeaway that informs a lot of the product we're building.
Well, Well, and if they're both drivers, they can team drive and get the items there even faster.
Exactly.
Awesome.
So those were some pretty cool takeaways from it, and it's just nice to get this type of information. And these are types of surveys that we're going to start doing on a more regular cadence, so we have more information on our carrier base, especially in in-home delivery, because it's really important for us to be able to be that targeted and focused on knowing, exactly what fleet size we're operating with, exactly where carriers are going, what routes they service, that type of thing, and having that information internally to reference when we get new clients onboarded, knowing which carriers we can reach out to and help support it. So
Yeah.
it's really good information.
Awesome. Yeah, I mean, it definitely helps both sides of, the businesses shipping and then also the businesses that are transporting. So that's really good information.
Yeah.
That concludes the long haul.
That's it for the episode.
Yeah.
Yeah. Give us a like, a rating, a subscription on your favorite podcast platform. We will be back in 1 month and look forward to talking to you again then.
Bye.